Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Closing Comments here on November 19th. Let's jump right into our charts and see what happened in the markets today. First up, February live cattle on the board. Today we did see more downside in the cattle market, both feeders and fats moving lower today. Nothing super breaking, just a nice breakdown below that prior day's low, continuing to flush back down here below that 200-day average again here on this February live contract. We did briefly undercut our bear pivots for the week, which were these prior 2-week lows right there around 215 and a quarter. Today's low coming in at 214.62 before rallying into the close at 217. Nice little pushback there off of those lows today into the close, but at the moment still have some bearish momentum here. We continue to have lower highs and increasing volume today with that selling pressure. So at the moment, looking like the bears are going to keep pushing lower. They're going to try and attack that 215 level once again tomorrow. If they're able to push through there, they should see some pretty smooth sailing here and get this ball rolling lower once again. Bears are in control here, and we should see the downside continue. Bulls need to fight back here around this 200-day moving average once again, like we had seen over the prior 2 weeks. If they're able to rally back up here towards this current week's high, they can continue to try and push up into some of this overhead supply, but at the moment, things are looking pretty heavy here, and looks like the bears are rolling. Look for that downside to continue into the rest of the week. January feeders also seeing a little bit of a flush today. Prices did finish all the way back up there around 321.35. So just hanging out right there on top of that bull pivot. But pretty solid breakdown here below that prior day's low. We did have a pretty steady sell-off here to start the day before that rally into the close there. Finished the day at 321.35, like I had said. At the moment, this market is still holding above that 200-day moving average. But once again, we still have these lower highs as we can see prices continues to decline and following the trajectory of these moving averages here. Selling pressure is still on. Bears are in control in this market. They're going to continue to attack that 200-day moving average. This feeder market does need to continue flushing down here, and we haven't violated those prior week's lows yet, so the picture is a little bit more bullish here in this January feeder chart compared to those February live cattle. But at the moment, still have the momentum favoring the bears here, and we expect to see them start pushing back down here on this long-term support line and this 310 bear pivot for the week. Look for the bears to keep trying to grind this market lower. Now over to our December corn futures. More downside here today after yesterday's balance day near the top end of the range. This market just flushing right back down here towards the 430 line here, retesting the bottom end of this range here. Like we've said for about the last 3 weeks here, this market's just been pretty choppy. Not a whole lot to expect from it here at the moment, as this 430 price point has been pretty comfortable for this corn market. Look for the choppy action here between 427 and 437 to continue. Crude oil prices once again showing a nice rejection off the top end of that channel line and that 50-day moving average. Pretty nice flush here. Overnight session, we did see most of that downside coming, but this market kind of rallying back into the close today. Nothing major, but price just remaining sticky here around 59.5 to 60, so a nice little close back up there where price feels comfortable. Pretty solid flush though here today, coming off that 50-day moving average. At the moment, this market still remains choppy and not much volatility here, but looking like we're going to continue following this trend channel here, and with a nice slow bleed lower, we could see prices continue to remain sticky here around $60 as well. But in the meantime, while we're chopping up here, we still have a little bit of a downside and a little bit of the momentum favoring the bears here, so look for this thing to keep this slow bleed lower going. And last but not least, our equity markets with a nice little rally here today. This market picking up and rallying back up towards these prior day highs. And so far here this evening, we have continued to have a nice little push following NVIDIA's earnings. No major breakthroughs here on NVIDIA, but picking up about $10 here in the after-hours session, showing a good little reaction to the earnings so far. Futures also following as the S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow are all up a little bit here in the after-hours session. We still do have this market trading down here below the 50-day moving average on that Dow index, the NASDAQ, and the S&P trying to rally back above it here. This market still has been in tough shape, and the charts look pretty rough here in some of those mega cap names. We'll have to wait and see how the response is to those NVIDIA earnings as we go into tomorrow's session. If the bulls are able to keep that market rolling and keep pushing higher following the earnings reaction after the opening bell tomorrow morning, we could see this market start to rally back up here and get this uptrend back on track. But in the meantime, we have seen a lot of pretty ugly responses to on those mega caps earnings recently. We have seen Microsoft selling off from their earnings date. Apple just kind of hanging steady here inside the range from their earnings. Google also following the earnings. We briefly poked above that earnings day range, but settling back right there near it. So not a great reception to any of these names. Once again, Amazon also gapping up, but a big sell-off here since. Facebook did get a breakdown right off those earnings and kept on pushing. And Broadcom still hasn't reported, while Tesla did have their earnings back here, and now we're trading back below that earnings day range. So at the moment, the trend seems to be sell off the earnings reaction here in these mega cap names. So that's something to keep an eye on as we move in tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how the market reacts to NVIDIA during the day session. But in the meantime, looking like we are having a little bit of a rally here in these futures indexes. So if we can keep this traction going and get good positive action on some of those large cap names tomorrow and into the close for the week, we could be setting us up for a nice little rally back up towards those all-time highs. The key level here is going to be this 50-day moving average, and where we're going to close for the week. That's going to be a key spot to watch. But in the meantime, we'll just have to wait and see how the market reacts to those NVIDIA earnings during the day session tomorrow, and the market should follow. That's all we got for tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow.